T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to the Play It By Ear podcast. The podcast where the topics may vary because, hey, we play it by ear. And now your hosts, Eric Fiskus, Brady Liming, and Todd Griffin.
Episode 177 of the Play It By Ear podcast.
We are here. We are here.
We are here and present.
We're loud. We're proud. We're well endowed. Does that work?
With pithy comments.
The look on your face seemed a little dubious.
I just didn't realize that word rhymed there. I was looking. I didn't think I would have a word, and it hit me upside the head. Oop! Upside the head.
Which one? Oh, like I said, episode 177, our patriotic, I guess we call it a patriotic edition of the Play It By Ear podcast. As you know, we don't delve into politics here, but we will delve into talking about presidents tonight in honor of today's presidential election of 2024. Very, very interesting stuff. Things you may or may not know. Things you may or may not have learned in your high school history class.
Things you might not want to know.
Well, this is true too. Down deep and up under in some cases.
I just realized something, that there is a distinct difference between the way I say the word interesting. Brady goes with the interesting. Eric, what do you go with?
I think I probably use both, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think I do too.
I've heard Brady say it quite a bit. I've almost pointed out before that Brady does the interesting. He used that.
I think I avoid interesting because I don't want to say there was a. I'm not even going to say the movie, but the very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep from sounding like that.
So you're removing a syllable, an entire
I
syllable.
am.
Yes.
I'm doing a syllabalectomy.
There you go.
Maybe is it being removed or swallowed?
Either way,
I'm adding a glissando to it for you music people.
Ha.
So do you say Caribbean or Caribbean?
I do say Caribbean.
Yeah, I say
unless
Caribbean.
I'm singing a Billy Ocean song.
Yeah,
I say
that's
Caribbean.
what I was going to say. Caribbean. That's why he said Caribbean.
I say
Quinn. All right, we got 8 people. 9. So someone's going in and out of the room. All right, chime in. Savannah's chimed in. Hello, Savannah.
Hey, Savannah.
Assume John's close by somewhere now. We got 9. Please check in if you like. Samantha, there may or may not be some Ted Danson discussion tonight. Did Ted Danson ever play a president on TV or in the movies?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Could be somewhat presidential.
Could be. Let's get the bone structure.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's got the bone structure of an Andrew Jackson.
I remember an episode of Cheers where he was dating a senator.
Ah,
Oh yeah.
He was dating a politician. That's about as close as we can.
yeah. Now that I
Probably
think
get to that.
if his hair was white and a mess, that he would look like Andrew Jackson. Mr.
I think
Zachary
you're right.
Tyler Rubel, guitar
Sup?
player
Sup,
for Final
Zach?
Countdown.
I kind of
Wow.
like the word Deuterinos.
Doritos.
We are
If I
blessed.
say it with a Spanish accent, does it become Deuterinos?
With that little,
Yeah, with one of those.
yeah.
Famous
What's that
Not the
called?
two dot
Tyler
things.
Rubel.
Yeah.
And just interestingly enough, Zachary Tyler Rubel.
Oh yeah.
We
Was
got
he
a
named
president-
after the former president?
Zach, do you know if you were named after the president Zachary Tyler?
Yeah. Hey, maybe I need to ask your mom that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Completed my civic duty and canceled someone's vote.
That's a cynical outlook there, Gary, but funny.
Chris, the only thing Ted Danson is president of is Samantha's heart.
Which Chris will have
Zach-
to
oh.
impeach that man.
Looky there.
He is named after the former president Zachary Tyler, Tippy Canoe, and
And
Tyler
Tyler-
too.
Yes. Electric Boogaloo. Typical new Electric Boogaloo. Breaking 2. And Tyler 2.
I thought it was
Think was
John
the-
Tyler, Zachary Taylor.
Oh, yeah, we're getting it mixed up. It's Zachary.
Huh?
No?
So yeah, you're right. John Tyler, Zachary
Either
Taylor.
way.
You're right. You're right.
But
I stand corrected.
and this is something you often hear at a Vinyl Countdown show. The one thing about Zach being in the room is instantly everybody else's hair looks worse because that man's got the best head of hair you'll see in Cincinnati. So
It is impressive.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes. Usually when I introduce him, I say something along the lines of his hella good hair, and he's a good sport. He doesn't tell me to stop, so I'm going to keep doing it. So if you guys, by the way, if you're listening either now or later in the podcast, if you're listening to the recording, check out Mr. Zach Rubel on Facebook and at a Vinyl Countdown show.
He does have appropriate hair for the style of music that you all play.
Right. He's carrying it for the torch for the rest of us who cannot get that hair. I've tried.
Yes.
Zach is actually the influence where I've tried the last 2 summers to grow my hair out. I don't know how he does it. He's way more patient than I am. Plus, his doesn't curl. Mine gets all curly and wavy and weird, and his doesn't. So
All you can achieve is Andy Dalton or David
That's right.
Caruso.
I have neither going tonight. I kind of have a little more of a middle-aged, accountant haircut tonight.
I never could tolerate the in-between stage. It just
That-
bothered me.
Well, in the summertime, I get by because I wear a hat all the time. But once school starts back up is when I lose my testicles and I stop. Nice.
Dove shampoo.
That's the secret.
Yeah.
Brady's mom.
Hello, Mom. Actually, Brady's in his mom's house.
Oh,
Yes,
you're
I'm
on
in
it.
my old childhood bedroom. I'm
Brady,
my
you should have Linda come in and say hi to everybody.
She
Yeah.
will have to come in. She will have to make her camera appearance. Absolutely. I'm actually in my childhood bedroom. My recording spots were occupied tonight, so I had to take solace now that she's got good internet as of last week.
Yeah.
Let me introduce everybody. Got 19 people in the room. It's jam packed.
Whoa, hello.
Daryl, hello, Daryl.
From that important,
Although you just said hello to your aunt, I'll say hello to you.
Yes.
It's all good.
Hello,
It's all
Daryl.
good.
Daryl's up there in one of
Wisconsin.
those states everybody's going to be watching tonight.
Yes.
Wisconsin, am I
Wisconsin.
right?
Wisconsin. John Barney with us. Yes, John. Hair. Not much you can offer there. Maybe a mustache.
Hey John. Hey John, you might have noticed I don't know if you saw or not on Facebook. I shared the radio spot, the radio ad for the upcoming Hillsborough High School Theater production of Deadline this coming weekend. So anyway, thank you, John. I pretty
Now-
talked to you about that.
Now, according to some radio ads on WSRW, my name is Eric Ficus.
Friskus.
Yes.
Kirsten says her in-between stage hair is Gary Busey. Well, Kirsten, there's nothing wrong. That is an Academy Award winner right there, Kirsten. Gary Busey, the Buddy Holly story.
Brady, hurry up and clean your room, says Gary.
There's some stocks on here, man.
Spotless.
Let's see.
I have found in my early 50s, my hair has become rather stringy and fly away. I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe it's not shampoo. It's the.
You need more Dove.
That could be it.
Release some Dr. Squatch. That's my shampoo.
You need
choice.
some Dove love, Eric.
I do need some Dove. I
Dove
need some,
love.
any kind of love would be good.
Eric, if you grow that out, Eric, and then you just throw it back, you'll have some Andrew Jackson going on.
Well, I could.
I'm
With
stuck on Andrew Jackson.
tested
slick.
televangelist hair.
Yes, that is a French pronunciation. No, it's the office tree pronunciation, the office fake tree pronunciation. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Ficus.
we're chatty because we're not used to so many people being in the room so early. So
20 people in the room. 20 people.
Yes.
remember, guys,
love
our
us.
show is only as good as y'all.
Yeah. So please use that comment feature. We want to
And
put
share.
all of you 21 in the room. Yeah, we want to share. Yes, please share. Use your comments. We'll post them up, or you can sit there and watch in the background. That's all good too.
Chris,
Duke
Duke
Naval
Cannon.
Cannon.
diplomacy. Good
Duke
smelling
Cannon.
body wash there.
All right. So again, our show tonight in honor of the
bang, boom, pow.
Pow.
in honor of the presidential election today, we are going to have some presidential trivia sorts of little stories, I guess, little
Sturdies.
Anecdotes.
anecdotes. That's a good word. I like anecdotes. We are going to have a truncated show tonight, as we're going to try to maybe go to around 8:30ish or so we can watch election returns, because that's kind of a hobby of ours. I'm sure there are other people here that will be watching as well. So hopefully,
We got 3 social studies teachers here, and like people that have like social studies history majors. So
I feel like I've lost all my social studies. Being a 4th grade social study, I pretty much, I feel like I haven't used what I've because of 4th grade, obviously being Ohio history, you know what I mean? So I kind of feel like I haven't been able to be as broad with my strokes.
no, you just put the thumb down on the grammar now.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I do like talking about Tecumseh, but anyway.
Who doesn't?
We have a special guest also tonight. Mr. Brian Brown just chimed in. I had the privilege of being at Brian's wedding this past Friday, and Brian, I got to tell you, man, that was one of the. I'm a guy here, so I mean, I got to be. But that was one of the most spectacular views of a wedding venue I've ever seen, and I don't believe I've ever teared up at a wedding as much as I did your wedding, man. So very beautiful service, and I wish you and Emma nothing but a lifetime of happiness. Thank you for allowing the Griffins to come and enjoy it. But again, man, it was a very touching service, and I think everything was perfect. So
Congratulations, Brian.
Yes.
Jim Heron in the room as well. Thank you, Jim. Mr. Ficus.
nice seeing you today, Mr. Heron.
And Nancy is with us as well. All right, 22
Savannah's
people in the
double
room now. Yes,
Savannah's
Savannah.
double dipping. She's got us on, and then John has the election coverage on.
So one eyeball is better than no eyeballs. So
Right.
we're fine. We're fine with that.
By the way, guys, we hope you voted. We hope you voted. If you're, what time is it? What time do the polls close? 8?
7:14.
Yeah, it's they close in 16 minutes in Ohio. If you're a Kentucky person, they've already closed.
Right. So if you're in line, you have to be watching this in line. Vote. Stay in line, and enjoy your right.
American
To do,
privilege.
yes, your privilege to do so. Yes. Without further ado, are you ready for me to start?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have a ranker ranking. If you're not familiar with ranker, they rank things. And
They don't stink. They rank.
they're not skanks, they're ranks. and so we have 15 surprising lasts.
Last enunciate.
Last disease.
Last disease. Yes.
We have 15. Can you see it?
Yep.
Surprising lasts for U.S. presidents. Number one, the last president with a budget surplus and a cigar, Bill Clinton.
Well,
Years in office, 1993 to 2001. When Bill Clinton became president, the budget of the United States was at $290 billion deficit. The Clinton administration introduced a robust economic plan, and coupled with an economic upturn, the budget surplus of the country reached its highest level ever. Willie Clinton.
Slick Willie.
Slilly.
Slilly.
90s
Now
were strong economic times.
they were, and understand there's a difference between a budget surplus and a deficit. Now we still were operating at a deficit. That we had a deficit we hadn't paid off. We just happened to have money left over at the end of a certain year. I don't know what year that was, but it was toward the end of his second term, I think. But we still had the overall deficit.
Yeah,
But,
close, but no cigar. I'm going to keep making
Ah,
cigar jokes.
I see what you did there.
So I always it's kind of like this. If I have my salary, if I pay my bills, my salary's gone.
Yes.
If I don't pay my bills, my salary looks bigger.
Yes,
That would
correct.
be a good way to explain, I think, to the youths out
Yep.
there the deficit versus surplus.
Right.
Yes.
Doesn't mean everything was paid off.
Right.
Just meant you had money left over at the end of a certain term
right.
Yes.
of time.
Not being totally critical, because I will say that the 90s I remember as being pretty good economic times. Like the only economics that I can remember getting kind of rough, isn't that when the .com bubble busted?
Yes. No, that was more 2001-ish.
Yeah. End of yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, everybody could afford their flannel back in the 90s. That was a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a fact. I
is.
refused.
All
I
right.
refused.
Number two. I'm going to sneeze. Hang on a second here. What the crap?
Typewriter.
What the crap? Last president without a Secret Service detail. Anybody want to guess?
Abraham Lincoln.
No,
Too soon. Too soon.
You would have to go Garfield next.
Well,
not the cat,
that's-
the president.
that was my answer. My guess is going to be McKinley or Garfield.
You're half right. Billy McKinley. 1897 to 1901, established in 1865, the United States Secret Service was initially tasked with addressing counterfeiting and other financial crimes. By the 1890s, the organization provided part-time protection to the U.S. president, although it was informal. It wasn't until after President William
Hippy doo boom now.
was assassinated, folks, in 1901, that Congress asked the U.S. Secret Service to protect the president. In 1906, Congress passed the Sundry Civil Expenses Act and allocated funds to the Secret Service to protect the president. By that point, the new president, Teddy R. Roosevelt, had already started receiving Secret Service protection. So imagine your job. You're like you're investigating financial crimes. You're dealing with counterfeiting money, that type of thing, and now all of a sudden they expect you to throw yourself in front of the president and be able to use a gun. And
Well, I mean, let's be fair. Some people we've seen on Secret Service detail look like they've been investigating counterfeiters. So
Or they were in Willy Wonka and the Oompa Loompas.
It's
man.
kind of strange.
Too soon.
Because, like, it's called the Secret Service, but everybody sees them. It's really not a secret.
Oh, well, but you don't realize what you don't see.
That is true. That is true.
That's the secret
That is true.
part. See, to have a successful secret, you have to have a pretty glaring non-secret.
Yes.
So the Secret Service still has those duties of investigating monetary crime of that sort. So
They
they
do?
never lost that. Yes.
Just
So counterfeit currency. I mean, the Secret Service will be the ones to investigate it even in 2024.
so they're teachers. So you just keep on adding more duties and more jobs.
Exactly.
Same
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
Hey, we're short-staffed today. Can you put down the counterfeit and take a bullet, please?
As the famous Chuck Griffin says, sure, why don't you let me put a broom handle up my ass and I'll sweep the floor while I'm at it.
Oh, Chuck. That is awesome.
Number 3. Last president without a middle name. Anybody care to guess?
Harry S. Truman.
Is S a middle name?
S is a letter. It's not a
It's
name.
just a letter. He didn't have a
Okay.
name.
All right.
Is that right?
I'm not going to say. I want to break the guess, and I wanted.
Well,
Maybe I was throwing you off. Maybe I was,
So while everyone's guessing, Jim says, "Smoke him if you got him, Monica."
smoke him if you got him, honey.
Now Jim also said Grant. Now Grant actually had
Grant's real name was not Ulysses. It was
no Hiram Ulysses.
Hiram Ulysses. Yeah, and it was actually I believe it was a mistake. That
His middle name was put down when he went to West Point as his mother's maiden name, so he was known as Ulysses Simpson Grant.
right,
He liked the U.S. part, so he just kind of kept that.
right. The most famous Simpson since OJ.
Every school child in Brown County that grew up here has to know every minute detail about Ulysses S. Grant.
yes.
All right, Brady, you didn't guess.
Oh, about the middle name?
Yeah, last
I
president.
my guess was Harry Truman because I know it was just S period.
All right. Much like our friend SJ, who SJ doesn't stand for anything. It's just S.
J. S
Harry
only,
S.
J
Truman,
only.
It's incorrect. This damn page, all the ads. Harry S. Truman didn't have a middle name, intended to honor both of his grandfathers, Anderson Ship Truman and Solomon Young. But he did have an initial. As a result, the last U.S. president without anything other than a first and last name was Teddy Roosevelt.
How about that? I had
Wow.
two correct guesses here. The historian guessed correct, and Justin
Nice.
guessed correct. I forgot to introduce you earlier, Justin. You talked about looking like Mr. Clean. We were talking about hair care products.
See if you'd have used more Dove, Justin.
That's right.
Dove Love.
Yeah,
Theodore
but-
Roosevelt Jr. was named after his father, a man who also didn't have a middle name. Middle names, as common, didn't gain widespread popularity until around 1900. That said, Roosevelt's successor, William Howard Taft, is rarely mentioned without his middle name. That's true. I never thought about that. How many presidents? I mean, Ulysses S. Grant.
John Quincy Adams.
Well,
Because
that's
there was another
Quincy
John
Adams.
Adams.
John Quincy Adams.
Quinky Adams.
Abraham Lincoln was his middle name. George Tush Bush, I believe, was his middle name.
W.
All right. Number 4. Last president without a college degree. Care to guess?
I should know this.
I should too. It is right on the tip of my tongue.
Was that Truman?
That's what I'm thinking. I think he went to college, but he did not finish.
If you guys keep guessing Truman, You're eventually going to get one right.
Yes, we will.
1945 to 1953, after graduating
Yeah.
from school, Harry S. Truman worked and served in the Missouri National Guard, the Missouri National Guard.
Missouri.
He rose to the ranks of the military during World War I, and upon his return to the U.S., entered politics. Truman gained political prestige as a U.S. Senator, was nominated to be President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's vice presidential running mate in 1944. After Roosevelt passed away in April of 1945, Truman became president. Months later, he made the decision to drop atomic bombs on Japan and oversaw the end of World War II. He never attended college or completed a degree.
Okay, question. What is it with the I ending words that are sounded out like an A? Missouri, Cincinnati.
Nada.
Where does that come from?
Dialect, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's just. So, are you talking about like people mispronouncing it? Sorry.
Jonah loves cha-cha.
Well, now wait a minute. Joni didn't end in I and ended in E, so it'd be Joni loves cha-cha.
We're flipping it. That's true. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was ridiculousness.
I got some comments here. We had some correct guesses on Truman. Justin guessed Truman.
Nice, Justin.
Chris said, when I was in the Navy, they named all the barracks and training after presidents, and I was in the Roosevelt. You were in the Teddy or the Franklin? I guess the Teddy, since I'm assuming that's the Roosevelt. You guessed. They always used to use that as a trivia question to get out of watches.
I just noticed Chris, the historian, has some D.B. Cooper, or should I say Robert Rackstraw, or should I say one of the other, the Phillips guy, I think it was, the D.B. Cooper thing.
I got to read this just so in Louisiana, they don't pronounce pie the way we do. They say pie with an A at the end. They say pay,
Or pile.
pa,
Pia.
pia,
Pia Zadora?
pie. Pie. You have to be more specific, Justin.
Different
To be
kind of
more
pie.
Pacific.
Pacific, yes.
How many we have in the room? Are we rating anybody off yet?
I don't have an ideal of what you're talking about.
Irregardless. Sorry.
You put the ear, Brady. You put the ear in irregardless.
Yes, you do.
Number 5. Last president born at home.
Ronald Reagan.
That's what I think too.
You are both wrong, but you're close. 1989 to 1993, President Jimmy Carter was the first future commander-in-chief born in a hospital, but it wasn't until H.W. Bush that the United States saw the last man born at home serve in the Oval Office. Bush, born on June 12, 1924, came into the world on the second floor of his family's home in Milton, Massachusetts, and there was someone in the hallway saying, "We've got Bush. We've got Bush." Just like Revenge of the Nerds. The family moved to Connecticut soon after. I believe the guy's name was Booger in the hallway that was yelling. Broken? Are you guys broken already? I believe that was Timothy Busfield in the hallway yelling, "We've got Bush."
No. Curtis Armstrong.
Curtis Armstrong. Timothy Busfield was Poindexter.
Yes, he
Yeah.
was. Yeah. Pa. Pa.
Long at pay. Pay.
Pay?
Pay.
Long A. La
You want
pay.
pay? Peanut butter pay or fruit pay?
Hey,
Pay? Yeah, I'd like some pay.
Pay. I'm gonna pay for this pay, if you know what I mean. All right. Number 6. By the way, there was an interesting fact there that was kind of a fact in a fact. And it said that the I hate these websites. You click on, you hit the wrong thing, and
Now, Justin said it's like I said it first. I can't remember how I said it first. Pa. I think that would that be a long A or a schwa? I think it's a schwa.
A schwa would be puh.
I would use the word schwa since the first grade.
yeah. Pardon our nerdiness, people. But no, because President Jimmy Carter was the first future commander-in-chief born in a hospital. That blows my mind.
Yeah, I did know that.
All right, number 6, last president without children's.
Chiddens. James Buchanan.
Brady, I want you to think about this. I want you to think hard about this, Brady, long and hard about this. You know this answer.
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah.
You know
James K. Polk.
James K.
K. Polk. What else about James K. Polk?
I mean, the man lost his taint in a terrible teenage surgery. You can't go on and have kids once that happens.
So we were debating whether we were gonna talk about this piece of presidential trivia. So I was horrified. Todd is reading the same book, and I had it on audiobook, and I almost drove off the road lightheaded because James K. Polk, who was actually a highly rated president and very effective, but he had some childhood illnesses. They had to do emergency surgery, pre-anesthetic.
30 years before anesthetic.
Yeah. So no pun intended. They had to poke him. They had to insert a knife into his perineum to dig out a stone. Now the quote leads. I mean, we're assuming it was a kidney stone, but I guess it could have been a gallstone. But I'm thinking kidney stone.
Whoa. Gallstone?
Well,
That would be the total wrong port of entry to get to a gallstone, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm not. Neither highway is recommended there.
Right.
But
Right. Who knows?
I'm just saying.
Who knows what path they had to take?
But they had to pour brandy down him to get him somewhat intoxicated. And they said he could not consume alcohol after that at all because it reminded him of that traumatizing thing of having a knife that wasn't there and isn't there. And
it rendered him impotent
and incontinent. There was another.
Yeah. But by the way, so you guys, if you don't know, if you're not familiar with some of the presidents we're mentioning, if you look at James K. Polk's presidential picture, I think you can see he wears every bit of anguish from his taint poking in his presidential picture.
He's a dour-looking man. Nice gullet, though.
Is a man who had some sharp objects put somewhere where they weren't supposed to be. Right.
Yeah.
Here, I have the picture.
Yeah. No. Pull that up. Now that you guys know the story, are you surprised by this picture? This man was essentially forced to the sidelines as a teenager. Right?
I mean, he still has the fear in his eyes. Look at him.
Right.
Yes. He looks like Mel Gibson there.
He does.
Strangely enough. He's rocking the skullet there, too.
Hairdo.
He's got a nice widow's peak as well.
Not Gary Eubanks, Bob Eubanks.
Bob Eubanks? I'm not seeing that.
No, not Bob Eubanks. No. Who did the Family Feud before, not Family Feud, who did the, crap.
Shadow Stevens?
No, I'm talking about the hairline.
Yeah, I could see Bob Eubanks in the hairline, yes.
Yeah, Bob Eubanks. That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Wink Martindale?
Okay, I thought you meant his face.
No, the hairline.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Number 7. Last president to travel regularly by train.
I would say, now I'm going to sound like a smarty pants if I say this, and I don't want to come across as that. Can I say my guess?
Go ahead.
Regularly by train, That's kind of relative because once we got to a certain point, cars and planes, but Warren G. Harding died on a train when he was traveling cross country. So I'm gonna use that.
Well,
He had a stroke on a train.
right. And Franklin Pierce's son died on a train,
Oh yeah, that was
A
an ugly
train.
one.
a train derailment. And I mean, Bill Clinton had a lot to do with trains as well. He was involved in some trains, but
Are we
Kinda
gonna
like-
lose our rating?
kind of like the guy in the Capitol. Or the guy. But no, Brady, you're wrong.
Oh.
Eric, you have a guess?
I would say FDR.
1953
Oh,
to 1961.
Eisenhower.
Eisenhower?
President Dwight D. Rockefeller
What?
traveled by train. What?
Dwight
What?
David Eisenhower?
There must be a typo here. I would,
Must
yeah.
be.
Dwight D. Eisenhower traveled by train during his time in office on campaign trips and on other occasions due to his wife Mammy's
Mammy.
flying. When Eisenhower traveled by train, he didn't participate.
It's actually Mamie.
Mamie. I said Mamie, didn't I? I said
Thought
Mamie.
you said Mamie.
Make stops to converse with
Mammy.
crowds because he considered them undignified. At times, Eisenhower did fly, but Mamie always took the train.
Ugh.
Number 8. Last president. Piece of garbage.
Garbage.
You don't realize the pop-up avoidance I'm working here. I got both thumbs in action here. What? Now I'm at Target. I went to Target and my cart was empty somehow on that one. Number 9, right? No.
Number 9.
8.
Eight.
Last president inaugurated in March instead of January. Is that your-
Was it?
William Henry Harrison.
No. That's too soon.
No, because
That's too late. I
you
mean,
know
yeah,
it was freezing cold when he did his.
yeah. Till he caught
It can be
his death.
freezing cold in March.
I know, but I mean, I'm just saying, like the obvious. I believe it was January.
It
Although he
used
did
to
not-
be.
Although Brady, that book we're reading, I did learn that. I always thought it was he got sick during that his inaugural drink, and it wasn't that. So anyway,
Yeah, he had the tuberculosis, didn't he?
no, he drank. I believe he drank bad water.
Oh, that's
I
what.
thought-
It was the dysentery.
Dysentery.
Let's see. The reason it was changed is because travel was no longer an issue. It didn't take as long to get moved there. I'm oh geez.
I'm trying to. It was the lame duck amendment to the Constitution.
Uh-huh. So I am going to guess.
See, and that was 11, 12, or 13 on the amendments. I can't remember which.
Yeah. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say. Oh shoot! I just got nothing. I just drew a blank. I am going to say Millard Fillmore.
Of course you are. Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Okay.
President Franklin
Really?
Delano Roosevelt was inaugurated on March 4th, 1933, in front of hundreds of thousands of onlookers. Before Roosevelt, presidents were inaugurated during the spring. So I guess it went earlier. So it backed up. In 1937, Congress passed the 20th Amendment to the Constitution, changing the date of the inauguration to
It's 20th.
20th.
which is
If
the
20th
the
falls
lame
on a
duck
Sunday,
amendment.
right? If the 20th falls on a Sunday, it takes place on the 21st.
Yep.
See, I was thinking, for some reason when I first read that, I was thinking that it had always been in January, but it had backed up. So that tells us that William Henry Harrison, that whole thing was
It was March.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Number 9, last president born in the colonies.
Hmm.
I'll give you a hint. Year in office.
Year. William Henry Harrison.
William Henry Harrison. The dude went and died like 3 months into his presidency. So the last individual to serve as commander-in-chief born before the United States became a nation was William Henry Harrison, not to be confused with his granddad,
Benjamin.
Harrison. No, I'm sorry,
No, that's
Grandson.
backwards.
grandson.
Backwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
The ninth
grandson.
U.S. president. William Harrison was born on Berkeley Plantation in the future state of Virginia in 1773. Virginia became a state in 1788. Harrison was only in office for a month. He served from March 4th to April 4th, 1841, before dying of pneumonia.
Well, now I take exception to that ranker description. Virginia did not become a state in 1788, did it? I mean, technically it became a state in 1776.
Maybe they're going by their signing of the Constitution or the Articles of Confederation.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Well, but see, even 1788 would be too late for that.
That's what I'm thinking, because 89 was when the convention, the Constitution, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're geeking out here.
Yeah, I remember 89 was
Of course, they did try to call Dwight Eisenhower Dwight Rockefeller, so maybe rankers on the level of Wikipedia.
maybe they are stinker. How many do we have in the room? Are we losing people?
12.
Oh, we have lost a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I
10.
think people are starting to turn on the TV too.
Oh, I'm sure. Last president to wed while in office.
That would be, I got a guess on this one. I think it is Woodrow Wilson.
I no. He had. So you're saying he wed early in his term? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
One of them had a wife that died.
That was Woodrow
then-
Wilson.
That was Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah.
I don't. That doesn't sound right to
He
me.
kept the relationship secret because he didn't think the country was quite ready for it yet. And then they announced it after they wed.
And then he had a stroke, and his new wife was the president for
Yes.
a year and a half.
I was going to give you a hint of alliteration.
Please do.
No, Woodrow Wilson's right. I was going to give you the hint alliteration.
Okay, gotcha. Very good, Brady.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Didn't
Number
sound right to
11.
me though.
Last president with a beard. I'm
Okay,
talking
now-
about the facial hair.
Um,
So less recent than what we're all thinking. There's a big Mike joke in there.
it's William Henry Harrison or Rutherford B. Hayes. They all run together.
William Henry
guy that
Harrison.
looked like
No, not William Henry.
I mean,
Benjamin.
Harrison or Rutherford B. Hayes. One of those guys. That looked
Benjamin
like that.
Harrison. Benjamin Harrison
Yeah.
was after Rutherford B. Hayes.
Yes.
You guys are right. Benjamin, good old Benji.
Yep.
1889, 1893. Abraham Lincoln was the first U.S. president to have a beard, and many other presidents have had facial hair to some extent. The last president of the United States to be elected with a full beard was Benji Harrison. Since William Howard Taft donned a mustache, no president has had any facial hair. Truman briefly sported facial hair. What? I would like to see him.
I
in a good-
didn't know that.
A
Can't
Fu
even
Manchu would be
process that.
awesome. True Truman with a Fu Man.
A true Manchu.
It gets funnier the more you dissect it. Well done, sir. Well done.
Come on, people. Are you not entertained?
That's what that S stands for, is Shaggy.
Shaggy.
He's got
Harry
a Shaggy
Truman.
Trumanchu.
Well, this is what cracks me up is they'll mess up Roosevelt's name, and then they have this specific. Truman briefly sported facial hair while vacationing in Key West, but it didn't last long.
He was hanging out with Hemingway or something.
Man forgot his razor, and they're acting like he actually had some facial hair. Number 12, the last signer of the Constitution to become president.
James Madison.
You guys are too damn good. James Madison. James Madison was one of the founding fathers and served as the 4th U.S. president. He was only one of 2 men who signed the Constitution of the United States. But he was only one of 2 men who signed the Constitution of the United States. I think
that became president.
That became president.
Washington being the other.
Right.
James Madison basically wrote the Constitution.
Yep.
So only 2 future U.S. presidents signed the Declaration of Independence. In 1776.
Adams and Jefferson. Adams and Jefferson.
No, you're missing one.
You said 2.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I see what it's saying now. So, but who is the last founding father to be president?
That's kind of an ambiguous term. I would say James Madison.
No.
Yes.
James Monroe.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Last president to be a bachelor.
James Buchanan.
The only president to be a bachelor.
How do you, well, I mean, like, I don't mean to be mean. I don't mean to be insensitive. We are all beautiful in one way or another. However, it's a bit. That man was not interested in finding a female because he looks.
Let's see. How
He
should
looks
I look at
unkempt.
There was something else there.
What?
Not that there's anything wrong with that,
Oh, I know.
but
Yes.
there is quite a few correspondences between him and I believe Rufus King
Yes.
and
William. Wilhelm Rufus King. William.
Wilhelm.
Wilhelm.
Well, let's say he was his Klaus. There is a lot
Give
of
my love to
speculation
Klaus.
that James Buchanan was our first alternative lifestyle president. There seems to be a lot of there. And his niece, it was actually that did the functioning first lady duties.
Yes.
So, and his niece was very
Harriet
close.
Rebecca
Queen Victoria.
Lane Johnson. What's her name?
Harriet. Sweet Harriet.
Harriet.
Hearted.
Hearted harbinger of haggis.
Haggis.
So no.
So love.
Ed.
Ed.
Oh, no. Ing.
No.
Trust.
So no.
Ing.
Ing. Yeah.
So love Ed. Was it love
Last
Ed?
president to visit. That is the thought. April.
Yes.
He was gee. Last president to visit Iran.
Ooh. Ooh.
I'm gonna guess Eisenhower maybe his general duties.
Would it have been Carter?
I think things were already gone south by that point.
You guys are too damn good. Jimmy Carter.
Was it
Only-
really?
Only 4 U.S. presidents have visited Iran, the last of whom was Jimmy Carter in 1933. Wow. So what? Like 40 years before he was president? Or like
So say he was only
44 years before he was president. He would have only been like 20.
no.
Maybe he would have been in.
Well, he was born in 1924 because he's 100.
Right. 100.
So he'd been 9.
He couldn't wait to vote this election.
Yeah, right.
Oh my goodness. So that has to be a wrong date. It says previously Presidents Franklin D. Roosevelt, Dwight D. Eisenhower, and Richard M. Nixon.
See, I
Milhouse had been to a
Milhouse.
Richard Mouse Nixon. Carter. He met with Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi in December 1977. 2 years later, the Shah was forced to flee Iran amid protests and eventually overthrown. Some tough reading. I apologize.
Yeah.
See, and I think that little description meant to say the first president to visit Iran was Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1933.
I think so. I would agree. 15. This is the last one, folks. Last president sworn in by someone other than the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
Brady
I
looks
know
like
this
he
one.
knows this.
Well, here's what I
I do.
wondered. Did he have pants on when he was sworn in? Because he was fond of not having pants on for interviews and like sitting on the throne, dropping a deuce while he was giving interviews. So,
And showing his assets around.
right.
Okay, so it was LBJ.
It
So
is
what you
out-
said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought. See, there was some controversy because Calvin Coolidge was sworn in by his father, who was a justice of the peace, and there was some question whether he was legally president or not because it wasn't not a federal judge, which was ruled upon quickly that was bogus. So I thought it was Calvin Coolidge.
Yeah, it's
Well,
LBJ.
Well, but LBJ was after Calvin Coolidge. It said the last president.
Right. The last president.
Yeah.
And we all know he was sworn in on the plane.
Right.
He was sworn in
right.
on the plane. I thought there happened to be a justice in Texas at that point. is what
I
was
always
thinking.
crack up, and I'm not being partisan. I'm not being political. But when people like, obviously recently we've had President Trump, and people act like gosh, where have we gone? We have these, because of some of the stuff he says. It's like, do you not read history? Have you not read about Lyndon Johnson? I mean, the man had no coup.
Crass.
Yeah,
Crass.
He was as crass as could be. I mean, he would literally give interviews while he was on the toilet, and he was prone to
showing
Lyndon
his, Baines Johnson
his
that he was asked one time, like, well, what makes you think you could do that? And he proceeded to display it.
Yeah.
And he said that's why.
What
which
are
is
the
a
odds?
felony nowadays?
What are the odds that a man with the last name Johnson
Yeah.
feels confident enough to display
Said Johnson.
said
Yes.
Johnson?
But he also got in trouble for picking his beagles up by the ears.
Right.
Yes.
But that they said the way that was, he really was offended by that because it was an unfortunate. It was the angle of the photograph. The dog wasn't actually. He had the dog by the ears lovingly, but then the dog jumped. The picture was snapped and looked like he was swinging it by its ears, and people lost their minds, which I probably would have too. But then they explained the story.
You mean a Democrat got mischaracterized in the press?
Well, I mean, like, I remember like my mom with the wiener dog that I grew up with. Her name was Gretel. I remember her when she would give her a bath, like pick her up by the
Scruff.
The nape of the neck.
and hold her underneath the. And I remember thinking, my gosh, that's cruel. But not once did she yelp.
It's how their mothers pick them
How
up.
their mothers carry them, yeah. So maybe Beagle's mothers carry them by the ears. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my list, folks. That is my list.
That was entertaining.
Yes. All right. So again, in honor of the presidential election today, we are doing some presidential anecdotal trivia sorts of things. And Brady has another list.
Yes. I do. And this comes from Ranker Stanker also. And it is what? I'm just repeating what you guys said. That'd be an excellent band name. Ranker Stanker. Anyway, U.S. presidents with the strangest hobbies. This kind of humanizes these people that we often put on a pedestal, and we think of them as our founding fathers beyond reproach sometimes. But some of them had some weird hobbies and did some weird stuff. So, are you ready? And this first one on the list, coincidentally, is LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson.
As we've talked about his other hobbies.
Yeah, it is. But one that we can mention is that he liked to scare his guests during joyrides. They said that the president had an amphibious car that he used to drive his guests around at his ranch. As he drove, he would pretend to lose control of his car and run at full speed into a lake. And he didn't tell him it was an amphibious floating car.
What?
Who
Who is this?
"Ah!"
Who?
LBJ.
Lyndon Johnson, yes.
So how in the 1960s do you have an amphibious car that doesn't stick out like a sore thumb?
It was only on his ranch. I think.
Was it one of those duckmobiles?
That's what
Yeah,
I mean.
it's
Like,
sort of.
did you not notice the floaties at the bottom of it? Like, how do you not know that?
My neighbors had one. It was a six-wheeled vehicle. It was primarily plastic, and it had like the tires. It kind of looked like a gator, but it was all very heavy-duty plastic. And its tires had little paddles on it, and they could drive it into Lake Winoka, and then it would function as a boat, and they would come out on the other side. It was sweet. And it was so lightweight you could run over somebody with it, and it wouldn't hurt.
Interesting.
But anyway, so yeah, he liked whipping it into the lake and going like, ah, and so that it's kind of funny unless you're like one of the people that thought they were going to meet their death in the water. I know, Eric. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Well, knowing Johnson, he probably whipped it into the lake and then whipped it out in the lake.
I knew that. Yes.
And said,
Yes.
"What do you think of that?" Johnson reminds me of the guy who always grabs the like meaty part of his upper leg, like you know what I'm talking about, like the.
Oh yes, we
like
had
he
a
kind of
classmate in our
somersaults
youth that
his
would do
pants,
that.
Yes.
Okay, Eric is broken. So the next one, Silent Cal, Calvin Coolidge, he rode a mechanical horse.
Like,
President Coolidge really loved riding horses, but he developed an allergy that meant he was unable to ride them. So when someone gave him a mechanical horse as a joke gift, he didn't really see the joke. He put it in a dressing room right next to his bedroom so he could always keep it close. He rode the apparatus regularly while wearing his hat, which amused his wife and their guests to no end. At the end of the day, no one had a problem with this practice because it let the president get some exercise.
He's riding a mechanical horse.
Being stoic and picking up his hat and yeehawing, this man that was known for not emoting much.
Would riding a mechanical horse be considered exercise?
Well, you have to squeeze it with the meaty part of your leg, and it's simulating horsery.
Horsery.
Okay. I just threw that out there. Okay, now this one, as a Ute, I struggled with. It was a contradiction. Theodore Roosevelt killed animals by the thousands, and he stuffed them, and he taxidermed them, but he was a conservationist. So, in addition to fighting just about anyone he could in the ring, Teddy Roosevelt tested his constitution by hunting every type of animal he could find on God's earth. His true test as a hunter came after his presidency when he took an 11-month safari through Africa. He shot over 11,000 animals.
How
So,
long?
what?
How long was
His trip through Africa? 11 months. This was post-presidency.
and it said 11,000 animals?
1,000.
So that's 1,000 animals a month.
And some of them might have been like squirrels or birds, which doesn't make it any like less gross. But I'm not mean to cast judgment, but that's one of those things that I never could do.
I mean,
But
that's over 300 animals a day?
man, that can't be
A
right.
week.
A week.
That's a little bit too much bloodlust that even like an avid hunter.
That's 40
You know what I
animals a
mean?
day, 45 animals a day
I
ish.
mean,
It's doable.
yeah.
Yeah,
Bush league. That's Bush league. Um,
literally.
So
Literally.
side topic here. We should have done a bracket in fisticuffs president for president, because I would like to see Teddy Roosevelt and Abe Lincoln fight.
Yeah.
A young Abe Lincoln,
We would have a
an Abe
grappler
Lincoln-
versus a boxer.
not an Abe Lincoln stressed out and worn to the bone by the Civil War. I'm talking a young Abe Lincoln
The rail splitting Abe Lincoln.
and George Washington and Teddy Roosevelt. I would like to see those three duke it out. Who wins?
Lincoln.
Lincoln?
It's the
Lincoln.
reach.
But then you'd have Andrew Jackson would just come in and shoot everybody for no reason.
That's true.
Right.
So-
Old Ironside. That wasn't Lincoln, or that wasn't Jackson. Who
No.
was Old Ironside?
Okay.
Old
this
Ironside
next
was a
one-
general.
That's right.
Yeah, is a
What was
boat. What?
Jackson's
Yeah,
name?
It was a boat. A boat.
yeah.
Old Ironsides was a boat.
This next strange presidential hobby, we kind of discussed this last week. John Quincy Adams regularly. Sorry,
You say John Twinkie Adams?
John
Quinky.
Quincy.
Oh, Quincy.
Sorry, my friend Doug, if he's listening, there was a restaurant chain in Florida. It was a steakhouse called Quincy's, and we always jokingly called it Quinkies, and it just stuck. Like I didn't even think about that.
Thought it had
But
to do with the
anyway-
TV show that I love to watch, and you guys
Yes,
giving me
there's also
crap
the
about it.
Quink.
Quink.
So, John Quincy Adams regularly, almost daily, skinny dipped in the Potomac. He had a lot of history attached to his name. He was the son of a founding father, and he loved to swim nude. It's been reported that he would wake up early every day and skinny dip in the Potomac at 5 a.m. The first female journalist ever to interview a president, Annie Royal, accomplished this historic feat by withholding his clothing and standing over his clothing until he agreed to do the interview. And he did the interview chin to the water, and she fulfilled her promise. As soon as the interview was done, she went off and gave him his privacy.
So I believe the book, Bray, that we're reading said something about, I mean, even in his 80s,
Yeah,
he was still out there showing his Quincy's and his Adams.
yeah, in some cold Potomac water. I mean, that's an actual river that would have some current. I'd be afraid that some carp think it was a wayward weedy ball, and that would not go well. That would be awful. Get caught on a twig or some
Oh,
driftwood.
A couple wayward weedy balls. You got those carp are good eating. Good eating.
Could cut out the mud vein.
You got to cut out that mud vein, right?
Watch his mud vein there.
So, how much of an expectation of privacy do you have if you're skinny dipping in the Potomac?
Which leads me to this. Was John Quincy Adams a little bit of maybe a weirdo?
An exhibitionist?
Yeah. Do you think, or was he actually as prudish as we're all led to believe, and he just thought that was healthy for some reason?
I don't know.
Well, I think the book does say something along the lines of like he did that. Like he thought that was like
Healthy?
the ultimate.
I
I
mean,
think I think you're seeing early signs of like what their idea of mental health care was. Getting out early. You know, one of the things I commented on that book is every president so far, and I forget what I'm up to. I think I'm up to Andrew Johnson. Maybe who was after Andrew Johnson?
after Andrew Johnson would be Grant.
Right.
Yes.
I'm through Grant, but every president, like, I want to hear about one president like slept till noon, like but every one of them got up at like the butt crack of dawn and went and it did, you know what I mean? Like they all had that early morning routine, which there's something to be said about that. But I think he was just taking care of himself mentally by going and swimming ball deep in the atomic.
It just seems. I mean, he could have had a presidential loincloth. He's the president,
Right.
but he preferred like that. That just made me think that maybe there was a little bit of, he wanted to get caught.
So you think maybe he was like an early Lyndon Baines Johnson?
He was a little bit of a flasher, probably an exhibitionist.
A masher.
I mean,
masher.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, JFK was known for giving interviews naked in the pool, the White House pool.
Really?
Oh yeah, he was.
Because he probably had some other woman under the water.
Yeah, he was a freak too. Don't let him fool you.
He's a philanderer.
Yeah. This next one. I'm going to paraphrase, then I'll actually read what the sentence says. George Washington really liked getting mules in an excellent bloodline. But it says George Washington enjoyed breeding mules, which anyway. When a person breeds a male donkey and a female horse, they get a mule. People frequently use mules as pack animals, and George Washington prided himself on this combination and producing excellent pack animals. They were also not native to America before George Washington. After seeing how effective they were in Spain, the townspeople and local farmers started wanting these excellent animals, so George Washington was the country's first mule salesman.
So the Mount Vernon mules were the best mules.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask an ignorant question here. So a horse and a donkey bred together. I mean, what is the advantage? Oh man. What is the advantage of the
combination?
Yes.
I would guess it has something to do with musculature and temperament.
So I was getting ready to say. I mean, yeah, you're getting the work ethic of a donkey, and the style and beauty and
maybe a little bit of size different. Like it'll be a little bit larger than a donkey.
Right. You're getting a larger and more graceful horse.
Donkey.
As you can tell, do we have anybody listening still?
Yes.
If
9
tell,
people.
We have no idea about horses and donkeys. So if you actually know that answer, you can chime in. But I agree with Brady. I think it's something about muscular, like the work ethic and
temperament.
Yeah, or horses could be skittish, and maybe a donkey's more chill.
Yeah.
So stubborn as a mule. They don't say stubborn as a donkey, so maybe I'm wrong there.
Yeah.
All right. This one's interesting. I did not know this one. Thomas Jefferson invented spy gadgets. When he wasn't leading a revolution, Thomas Jefferson loved to invent gadgets. He helped advance the science of agriculture by inventing a plow that was easier to pull. He created an updated sundial, but his coolest work was to help out American spies during the Revolutionary War. He invented the wheel cipher, which was an iron pen containing 26 wooden discs that could be used to decipher coded messages. What a
Mm.
brilliant man.
Yes. They were all brilliant.
Yeah.
Do you think it's
Right.
do you think it's a symptom of having just a lot of time on their hands?
Less, well, these are hobbies, but, less diversions, like, because, Jefferson also dabbled in architecture and violin playing.
I mean,
In agriculture?
Ben Franklin. I mean, Ben Franklin's what? A scientist, a doctor, a lawyer. He wasn't a lawyer, I don't think.
No.
But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Statesman.
dabbled-
Statesman.
Yeah.
statesman.
He
so-
played the violin.
I knew it was
He
coming,
tucked,
dude.
tucked it right under his chin.
Any Eastern high school student, our dear teacher, Miss Gurman, we watched 1776, the musical.
Or any Lynchburg Clay High School student, because I carried on the tradition.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Yeah, I got to chime in here with an election update.
Oh,
I'm not going to say either way. We're going to remain nonpartisan. But I don't remember an election in recent history or ever where you're hearing about how the Amish vote is becoming a factor.
There were 180,000 Amish in Pennsylvania that were registered to vote. That were not registered in 2020.
So if they
Wow.
had electronic voting machines, would they be able to vote there?
are they allowed to do a paper ballot?
That's
Like,
what
I have questions. Like, that's kind of interesting.
I don't know.
Are Amish women allowed to vote?
Maybe an absentee ballot.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Jim. Less diversions like listening to podcasts. That is true. By the way, I forgot to welcome Richard. Hello, Richard.
Sure.
Okay, we mentioned this earlier. Teddy Roosevelt loved to throw down in the ring. He was a very skilled boxer, but he had to stop after he took a punch to the eye that detached his retina. So he did not want to take the chance of losing his other eye. So he stepped out of the ring.
Huh. So, could you imagine any president in our lifetime even being able to even come close to like the toughness and like standing in the ring with some of these, like, again, your Abraham Lincoln's, your Andrew Jackson's?
If the election turns out a certain way, one of the vice presidential candidates was a Marine, correct?
Yes.
So there has to be a little bit of toughness there. I mean, they don't go through Paris Island willy-nilly.
Right. And I think I know which one you're talking about, because I would fight one of them and not the other.
Well, actually, the other vice president was also a
Yeah, I would
service
still
member. But so
I would
I'd be
fight. I
fair
would
and
fight.
balanced.
I would fight him, but I would have to ban bitch slaps. In order to, but
Yeah.
I'll say this though, Brady. I know where you're getting at, but here's what I was thinking. I thought you were going to go this route. I thought you were going to make like an RFK connection. Have you seen that dude with his shirt off?
He's jacked, man.
Oh my gosh, he's 70
Well-
years old. He's built like a brick shit house. I mean, he's like, it's amazing.
Is he that old?
70, I believe.
Really?
I think so.
I didn't think he was that old at all.
Let me look it up.
Well,
He doesn't
Brady
look-
Brady RFK's been dead 55 years.
That's true. That's true.
So
Yeah,
RFK Jr. is, well, he was born in
Actually, 56 years.
50. He was born in 54.
Yeah.
So he's 70 years old.
Gosh, I never would have thumped that. All right. Now here's one. I can respect this. President Obama collects comics like they're going out of style. There's been quite a few geeks in the White House, but President Obama might be the biggest nerd we've ever had. Not only is he a huge Star Trek
Wow.
and Game of Thrones fan, but he's also got a huge comic book collection. He grew up loving Conan the Barbarian and Spider-Man.
How about that?
There's RFK Jr. Recent picture.
Looks like Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah.
I mean, that is ridiculous. He and Rick Springfield must be on the same
Regimen.
Same regimen and plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know this. Franklin D. Roosevelt helped write a mystery novel.
Hmm.
He loved detective stories. Despite his adoration of the genre, he had a problem with just how formulaic the stories were. So he started thinking of his own plots, and he discussed it with his friend Fulton Orsler, a magazine editor. They came up with a plan to take some of the best authors of the era, give them FDR's plot, but write it as a round robin. The idea was to have each other write a chapter. But while the book was published in 1936, it actually ended on a cliffhanger that was not resolved until 1967, when the creator of Perry Mason, Earl Stanley Gardner, tied everything up in a concluding chapter. The President's Mystery Plot. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
That is
That's interesting and interesting.
very interesting.
So, was there any money made? Like I wonder if there.
Yeah, is he a
Did
published?
not say.
Okay.
So somebody got some moolah. He was independently wealthy, so he probably, who knows?
Roosevelt.
Don't think that money went to his estate.
Yeah.
Or his wife.
Richard Nixon was a
Speaking
caretaker.
of beards,
Ricardo Nixon.
Richard Nixon was a card shark. He was a card shark.
Millhouse.
Millhouse. You would think that Nixon's paranoid personality would make him lousy at cards, but that couldn't have been farther from the truth. During his time in the Navy during World War II, Nixon got an infamous reputation for being the best bluffer in the service. Tricky Dick. Indeed, he won so much money during his time in the service, he used it to fund his U.S. House of Representatives campaign, was seated in card money.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Why do I just picture Richard Nixon playing canasta all day long in the Oval Office?
Or pinochle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think outrageous paranoia would be a good thing for a poker player, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You suspect everybody.
I can just see him with his cards. It is not a bluff. Sorry.
That makes me want to watch the movie Dick. Remember that movie?
Oh,
with I can't think of who played Richard Nixon in that movie, but it was a great movie, by the way.
Yeah. Wasn't it Richard Dean? No, wait a minute. Who was the? Oh,
I can't
it'll
think
come
of the
to
guy's
me.
name. It had
It was the dude that was in
in
Quantum Leap, wasn't it?
Cool.
Not Jim Bakula or Scott Bakula, but the other guy.
Sam. No, Sam
Eric's
was
on it.
not
I can see his eyes. He's on it.
I'm on it.
Well, it had Kirsten Dunst and
Michelle Williams.
The only thing I really remember about that movie is that funny line where they were having to take his dog out. It's like, come on, let's go poop. And the secretary said, the president's dog does not poop. He conducts his business. And that always cracked me up. All right.
Dan Hedaya was Dick.
Can you show us a picture? Because we know what he
Be
looks
careful.
He was the
his
dad in
bushy
Clueless. In Clueless. The
Yeah.
dad in Clueless.
like. Oh yeah,
The lawyer.
He was.
Yes.
He kind of resembled. There's another actor that he reminds me of, and I can't think of his name.
He has a Walter Matthau look about him.
He does have a bit of a Walter
Yeah.
Matthau.
Will Ferrell was in Dick.
I don't remember that.
He played Bob Woodward.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
The next one on the list was, we already discussed this, Abraham Lincoln was a wrestler. He's in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. Not only did he lead America through the Civil War, but he knew his way around a wrestling mat. When he was a kid in New Salem, Illinois, Lincoln learned to grapple and got quite a reputation after beating a local bully. Even more impressive was his ability to kick butt, was mentioned during the election in 1858. His opponent, Stephen Douglas, used his knowledge of Lincoln's wrestling tales to prove that he knew him well. When Lincoln ran for the presidency, the mentions of his wrestling skills came up again, only this time he won the election. So, once again, he was 6'4", was used to splitting rails. He had lean muscle mass and a long reach.
So, well, first off, he probably never actually wrestled on mats. Said he knew his way around a wrestling mat.
Bales O'Hay.
Bales, I was gonna say Bales O'Hay and mud.
How many elections did Stephen Douglas try? I mean, how he ran multiple times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was like the Cornell West of the. he kind of was
I was
just
gonna say
in
the
every,
Angela
or the
Davis.
Jill Stein. He was
Yeah.
like the Jill Stein of the Cornell West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the Bernie Sanders.
Yep.
The Lyndon LaRouche.
LaRouche. So, fun fact, my wife's in-laws live in Monmouth, Illinois, which is about an hour west of Peoria, an hour south of the Quad Cities, 12 miles-ish west of Galesburg, Illinois, which was the site of the famous Lincoln-Douglas debate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ah.
So I've seen the place.
Next,
Two.
George W. Bush loves to paint and is quite an accomplished painter. So he's very good at it.
I did know that.
I knew that.
Sure. Yeah.
Because he didn't do that series of like American Hero, like Soldiers, like he did like
Yeah.
something.
Mhm.
He's quite good, actually. You know. Now this one, it's often been said that this appearance in this hobby sealed the election for William Jefferson Clinton. He plays a mean sax. He only got into he was going to go to college to be a professional saxophone player. And on Saturday Night Live, he busted out his sax and played.
Wasn't Saturday Night Live. I was going to ask that
Was it
trivia
Arsenio
question.
Hall?
It was Arsenio Hall.
Arsenio Hall. Yes, thank you.
Bill did or Roger Clinton? Wasn't he a saxophone player too?
That I don't know. But
What about
let's
George?
see. In 1992, on Arsenio Hall, he jammed with the band and made quite an impression. And I'm going to run this together because it's the same dude. He also loves crossword puzzles. He has quite an addiction for difficult crossword puzzles.
Who?
Bill Clinton.
No.
So, okay. Well, that I went through that quicker than I expected.
Well, no, the timing's good. We wanted to.
We're at 1:23:37.
Yeah, we wanted to go until about 8:30. So, timing was good.
Timing was good. That was
How many do we
interesting.
have listening?
5.
Everybody's tuning out.
Yeah, tuning into results and things.
We might be too serious and too educational tonight. We're junk food to people's lives. Are we adding too much healthiness?
Yeah, could be.
Maybe on the re-listen, people will realize that we had some good zingers tonight, some good jokes.
Yes, we did.
Good.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about James K. Polk and his
Taint.
yes.
Polk's perineum.
Poke and taint.
Gosh, that just
Polk's.
sounds horrible.
Polk's poked perineum.
I do want to end with this. Well, not end, but I just want to kind of my part of it. Where this book I've read about presidential history, it is amazing how many either presidents their family members or children died of either typhoid or tuberculosis or dysentery.
Right. Right.
But
And it's Brady. You're probably thinking the same thing as me. Is like, I think it was like Grant, for instance. I think that's the last one I read, and it talked about like all of his kids living like full adult. It was like such a rarity when like a president's children live like full lives. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's so strange that there's so many of them. And then you also think about how much like heartache and pain and like that a lot of those presidents dealt with, and it kind of makes you wonder if like history's a bit unfair to some of them based on what they dealt with.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Especially
And-
early on. I mean, imagine
Yeah.
the earlier the country, the younger the country, I don't want to say the more difficult the job, but I mean like definitely the less background knowledge you have of
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
So Dennis says we were the choice over listening to the TV. Well,
thank you, Dennis. I
Yes.
think.
I'm getting ready to go have me a big old bowl of chili, probably 2 big old bowls of chili.
well,
I made some chili a couple days ago, and I only had one container of tomato juice because it was out. So it was the heartiest chili I've ever made.
Thick and
was
hearty,
very-
thardy.
Thick
Yeah.
and spackly. And
Spackly.
but it was delicious,
Did you eat it
but
with
there
a
was
fork?
not much liquidity to it.
okay. So now we bring up chili. I
Here we go.
have an issue.
Well, 10 o'clock tonight.
I have an issue. So I drive by the Dairy Queen in Hillsboro, and on their marquee, they have advertised chili soup.
Yeah, thank you. What is the difference between chili and chili soup? And is there something called soup chili?
Yeah. Yes, all those questions.
I like to think that chili soup, the ratio is a bit more chili, but why is there not a soup chili where the ratio is a bit more soup?
Chili soup was done by the same person who on elementary school menus would say wiener sandwich. It's a hot dog. And it was like it's not a
Or in some ways, hamburger on bun. How the hell is she going to eat a hamburger?
You can eat a hamburger without a bun.
At that point, it's round steak.
It's a chop steak.
Chop steak.
chop
Yeah.
steak. Yeah, come on.
Which it should be fork steak because you're eating it with a fork.
Yeah.
So-
chi-
Chili, again, Celia,
eh,
she has chimed in on this debate about soup or chili soup before.
Is there any chili that is not soup?
Probably what I made a couple nights ago was about as close as possible. We're yawning and coughing. I'm sorry. The time
Well-
change is still messing with me.
I have to show you guys when I turned to yell for my wife. This is what I saw staring at me. Check your phones.
Oh no.
So, ah.
All I can see were the eyes. That's creepy right there, folks.
That is creepy.
It's like, let me in, human.
I don't even own a cat. I'm joking.
You don't. So, not as creepy unless that's an inside window.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Go eat.
Gary says chili soup sounds watered down.
It does.
That's yeah. So is there a certain consistency then? Is DQ telling me don't expect Brady spackled chili, expect watered down,
With a bean and a fleck of meat in it.
no celery. If you want celery, go to Wendy's.
Right. Right. By the way, I had that. Eric, you and I had Wendy's chili together the other day.
Nah,
I
that was taking a leap of faith right there.
Right. I fought a bean skin for like hours that night.
Come punching your palate
How
to
does
try to get that
a
bean skin out.
spackle itself to the inside of your teeth, and you won't even know it's there. And then I'm gonna get gross here, but you'll be brushing and you'll spit in the sink, and you literally spit out what looks like a balloon, like
Horse hide.
yeah.
And you're thinking, what happened to my gum?
Right, that's a piece of my stuck in my gum there. Nope, it's just a bean skin.
So
Bean skin is the most malleable.
it's
Chameleon.
yes, that's what I was gonna say. It's the chameleon of food.
Yeah.
Savannah says you can use V8 in chili too. Man, I'm glad I had a V8. Remember those commercials?
Yeah, that's why I was leaning.
Oh, you were leaning.
Remember the leaning? Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
A mini little tangent on chili. Chili soup. You want to know chili soup? I want chili.
What do you guys think of? So here I'm going to tell you the way I this is the way that I handle it when there's chili in the house. Eric, you and we talked about this. So the first thing I do is pour myself a bowl of chili. Okay, I dip my peanut butter sandwich in it.
Yes.
When I'm done with my peanut butter sandwich, I put cheese on top of it.
Yes.
I put a couple crackers in. I eat all the cheese off of it. Then I put peanut butter on individual crackers and start lobbing them into the mix. Then when I finish that, I do the same thing again, minus the peanut butter sandwich. I start with the individual crackers with peanut butter, lob them into the mess. Then I end it with cheese and a gob of crackers that would choke a donkey.
I
Or a
was
mule.
commenting, I
Then-
never want to hear about my eating habits again.
The next
To
day,
you.
it becomes chili spaghetti or chili like chili mac. And you never eat peanut butter sandwich with chili mac. You go
Chili
straight to the crackers and cheese.
chili smack.
Right.
Chili snack.
Now Brady, don't even compare it. You would like so I de-bean the chili and then I remove all the red food coloring in chili because I don't like red things. And then I
That sounds
skin
much more rational.
Skin the
take
beans.
crust off the peanut
Skin
butter.
the beans.
I use crunchy peanut butter and I individually pick out the peanut chunks.
Yes. Yes, there's Todd level preparation and Brady level preparation.
And then I put some jerk sauce on it because Brady likes his jerk chicken.
I do.
It's,
I do like my jerk chicken.
All right. So again, I hope everyone 4 hours later you finish. That's true, Jim. Takes Todd 4 hours to eat a bowl of chili.
Oh, I thought we talking chili still.
Oh, well. Yeah, that could-
something else there, Jim.
What, or us opining on chili. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's like that little video you sent us yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's
why it's a good thing you're having the chili after we do the show.
Well, I thought about before, yeah, but I didn't want to put our audience through that with my my dinner choices. Yeah, although I think the wet celery does something to the Wendy's chili that keeps it from being as potent as your typical.
Well,
You know-
that could be the purpose of the celery.
Right.
yeah.
All right. Anything else, gentlemen? Gentlemen?
I don't believe so. Thank you guys.
Thank you all
Yes.
for
Thank you very much.
election night 2024 presidential extravaganza.
Mm.
So
Audio, find us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and the iHeart app. Most anywhere else you find podcasts. by the way, I would be remiss. Speaking of iHeart, many of you know I work for iHeartRadio, and I always say I'll just tell this story. I went up to Ashland University where my son works, and he was doing a radio interview up there with a college station. I told them, yeah, I work for iHeartRadio, and they looked impressed. And I said, well, they're in the Cleveland area. So I said, there's WTAM up here, and there's where I am down here. So I'm in iHeart just by name only, basically. But there was a corporate restructuring. That's what they call it every so often. One of, I feel she was a very valued employee of iHeart Southern Ohio, which includes the Chillicothe cluster, which is Chillicothe, Washington Courthouse, and Hillsborough. Christina Wolford was she lost her job in that restructuring. So I'm sorry that happened. She just a great worker, and she'll land on her feet, I'm sure. And I just a valued member of the family, and I was sad to hear that. So, Christina, I'm thinking about you, praying for you. That things will be all right. So, iHeart made me think of that. But all right, moving on. Video.
Gary,
you too.
Next time, depending on the outcome of the election.
Take that as you will.
That's right. We're taking our eyes.
Yeah. Spotify, YouTube, Play It By Ear podcast. Search both on both those platforms, as well as Twitch. Now, I had to explain to Mr. Heron today what Twitch was. He said, well, you always say on the podcast, what is Twitch? And some of you may not know what Twitch is, so I'll explain it. Twitch is like the YouTube of video games. So you can go and watch people play different games and as they stream. So you can stream content on there as well. So our platform had an option to go to stream. So I decided, hey, we'll just make a stream account and we'll do that too. So that's why we're on Twitch. I don't know if anyone, there are a few people that listen to us or watch us there. I don't know who those people are, but all right. Moving on, social media, Facebook, X, Instagrams, and interact with us via email, admin@playitbyearpodcast.com. Leave us a voice message by clicking the link at your audio podcast provider. Todd, you were going to say something?
I was just thanking James. He said, good show, gents.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. All right. Anything else, gentlemen?
All good. God bless America.
Yes.
Thank you, veteran, today.
Yes, indeed. And Veterans Day is coming up before we have our next show. So
right. So Justin.
Yes.
Amber and Matt Vera.
Yep.
Our historian.
Yes, indeed.
So if anyone we're forgetting, we don't mean to be forgetting. We know we have a lot of veterans that have chimed in the past. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for your service.
Sacrifices and services. Thank you.
All right, Todd, take us out.
Thanks for listening to the Play It By Ear podcast. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter @PlayItByEarPod2, and our website at anchor.fm/PlayItByEarPodcast. Thanks again, and join us next time as we play it by ear.